Hello everyone, thank you for tuning into Vidiot Entertainment Studios for this episode of Vidiot Movie Reviews. I'm the Nerd Lust Daddy, and today we continue our series reviewing every North American live-action video game film adaptation theatrical release. On this week's episode, we're taking a look at 2005's Doom, starring Carl Urban and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
The Rock? Oh, that sounds good. Let's smell what he's cooking.
Kids, cheesy daddy references are my thing.
Hi, sorries, not sorries.
Let's jump into this like the Pid said and see if we can smell what's cooking. Now, Doom released theatrically, US-wide, on October 21st, 2005, so it looks like we got us another Halloween cash-in attempt here. Either way, at the time there had been 9 releases in the game series, which was comprised of base games, expansions, compilations, and ports. Doom, Doom 2 Hell on Earth, Master Levels for Doom 2, The Ultimate Doom, Final Doom, Doom 64, Doom 3, Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil, and Doom RPG. Now, after watching the film and doing some research, it would seem as if we can focus on Doom 3 and its expansion, as the creature and weapon designs have been inspired by or pulled directly from it. We'll also use the overall series for plot comparison, as they are all basically about the same thing, just with different main drivers for the protagonist. Speaking of the plot of the games, I'm fairly certain any fan of video games is aware of the plot of them. Typically, the plot involves the Union Aerospace Corporation, or UAC, who have a research facility on the planet Mars. The UAC is usually experimenting with teleportation technology that ends up going awry and opening a portal to Hell. Hell's legions then end up attempting to invade Mars as well as Earth. During their initial invasions, they either outright kill any humans in their path or turn them into zombie-like creatures. Later games in the series continue this narrative with either a teleportation experiment going wrong again, or the forces of Hell itself opening a portal or portals to invade Mars and Earth. During the events of the games, there's also a nameless Marine present who witnesses what is happening and fights his way through the forces of Hell, leading to the culmination of his arrival within Hell itself to fight and stop the demons at their source. In the film, we mostly follow the same narrative. In 2026, the UAC discovers a device they dub the Ark that can open a portal to an ancient city located on Mars. 20 years later, the UAC has an established research facility on Mars, where they conduct research investigating the origins and genetic makeup of the extinct inhabitants of the ancient city. The UAC inhabitants are attacked by an unknown assailant and send a distress signal back to Earth requesting help. The military, in cooperation with the UAC, puts together a team of Marines and sends them to Mars on a search and destroy mission to recover the scientific data stored there. They eventually meet up with the sister of one of the Marines, who explains that during their research, they discovered that the original inhabitants of Mars had an extra 24th gene that gave them superhuman abilities, such as increased strength, agility, and intelligence. Later, the group is attacked by a zombie-like creature who turns out to be one of the scientists. Once the scientist is restrained, the Marines proceed to search for the rest of them. While doing so, they are attacked by a large monster that can pierce its prey's skin with its tongue, either at close range or through a projectile method. One of the Marines is attacked and wounded in this manner, and the group takes him back to the lab where the currently rescued scientists are located. They attempt to save his life, but he dies and they place him in an adjoining observation room. Eventually, this Marine comes back to life in a zombified state, but is aware enough to commit suicide at the thought of existing like this. The surviving Marines return from another attempt at rescuing the remaining scientists and inquire about what happened. Eventually, one of the scientists is forced to show the Marines the data they were sent to recover. We learn that the scientists had been experimenting with Gene 24 and injected it in a human host. Now, this can cause mutations that turn humans into zombie-like creatures that can further evolve into larger creatures, such as the one that can attack people with its tongue. One of the scientists also discovers that the mutated creatures can actually sense inherent evil within humans by detecting specific genetic markers that create a predisposition for violent or psychotic behavior within them. This explains why they kill some people and infect others, as well as the different effects it can have upon those with the predisposition and those who don't. Realizing that not everyone who is attacked is turned into a monster, the scientist and her Marine brother try to stop the sergeant who is willing to kill every remaining human on Mars in order to stop the spread and return the data to the UAC at any cost. Well, we definitely have a serious deviation here. I don't understand why they changed the plot to involve genetic mutation instead of leaving their origin being from hell like in the games. Targeting a wider audience by getting a low film rating can't be it, as this movie is rated R, has tons of blood, violence, and even a nudity scene. There's just no good excuse for this departure when detail towards accuracy is shown elsewhere within the plot, as well as in other areas. Due to this unnecessary departure, I have to give the plot a chit futter. Kids, what did you think of the plot?
To hell with this chit futter.
Alright, let's take a look at setting and world representation. We're set on Mars within a UAC facility, so that's good. Monster representation is good as well. Speaking of that, let's take a closer look at them. The zombified humans look good, although they do not wield firearms as they do in the games, but there are a few instances where they wield either a sharp or blunt object. Imps look good too, although they do not shoot fireballs like in the games, and instead use their tongues as mentioned earlier. Hell Knights also look accurate, but they also do not shoot fireballs like in the games, and there is a scene where one of them wields a chainsaw when they do not wield weapons in the games. We also get a Pinky Demon, with the main liberty being that instead of mechanical hind legs, it has hind wheels due to the character it mutated from. Weapon representation is good as well. We see a pistol, shotgun, machine gun, chain gun, grenades, chainsaw, and the BFG. We get a miss in regards to the iconic Green Marine uniform, as it's never shown in the movie, but we do get to see some iconic item use in the movie in the form of keycards. They're even color-coded like in the games. We also get to see the use of a severed hand to access a biometrically locked door. Now, while never used in the games up to this point, the idea of this was in the design document called the Doom Bible, so it's likely this could be a reference to that, and of course, later on this would become a reality in the 2016 Doom game. We even get a full 5-minute section of the film where we go into first-person view like in the video games. And while a bit cheesy, it was still fun to see a representation of the source material. And finally, we have a reference to the developers, as 2 of the scientists in the film are named after developers, Dr. Carmack and Dr. Willits, who are named after John Carmack and Tim Willits respectively. Now, while we do not see representations of all the monsters and weapons that existed within the games at this time, and some liberties are taken, I'd say this is still a fairly good representation. The little touches like seeing the keycards and references to the devs were surprising and welcomed as well. Setting and world representation gets an easy hawoo from me. Kids, what did you think of it?
Hawoo!
Okay, let's get into the starring cast here, starting with Gregory Duke Schofield, here played by Raz O'Dotty. Mostly known within Britain, he does have some prominent US acting roles in films such as Amistad, Black Hawk Down, and Resident Evil Apocalypse as Sergeant Peyton Wells. We've come full circle here, people. Now, his role here is of one of the Marines sent to investigate the UAN facility. The portrayal is good as a confident and skilled Marine who also has quite a bit of a flirtatious woman's man side that is frequently displayed throughout the film. No complaints here, so he gets a solid hawoo from me. Pids, thoughts on Duke?
Hawoo!
Dr. Samantha Sam Grimm, portrayed by Rosamund Pike, known for her roles in the films Die Another Day, The World's End, and Gone Girl. She plays the sister of the Marine Reaper. Here, she portrays a confident and skilled scientist that is very knowledgeable and intuitive. While I liked her performance, there also wasn't much that made her really stand out at any given time. Still, a competent performance that gets a passing hawoo from me. Pids, your insight on Sam.
Hawoo!
John Reaper Grimm, played by Carl Urban, known for his roles in The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King, The Chronicles of Riddick, the 2009 Star Trek and its 2 sequels, Thor Ragnarok, and of course, The Boys. Clearly this actor knows his way around some nerd pop culture IPs. Here he plays the brother to Sam, and is a skilled Marine who went into the military after his parents died in an accident at this same UAC facility. The acting here is excellent. He shows a wide range of confidence, combat skills, leadership, and even uncertainty when struggling with his past. A strong performance in my opinion, and worthy of a strong hawoo. Pids, how did you feel about Reaper?
Hawoo! Rah!
Sergeant Asher Sarge Mahonen, portrayed by none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who should need no introduction. Here he is the leader of the squad of Marines sent to the UAC facility. The portrayal is good as he comes off as intimidating, commanding, competent, and a skilled veteran Marine. At times he even exudes a sense of morbidity as he's so focused on being a loyal Marine and completing the mission that he will do it at any cost, setting aside all ethical and moral obligation. I have no complaints here, and I think we've got another strong hawoo from me. Pids, what do you think?
Hawoo is what The Rock is cooking.
Alright, let's get out our final verdicts. I was actually pleasantly surprised with this one, and I'm not sure why it gets such a bad rap. Let's turn to the Pids first. Pids, your final verdict on Doom.
Hawoo! Rah!
I agree, Pids. This was actually pretty good. I had a fun time with it, and really couldn't find much fault with it other than what was already mentioned. There's a surprising level of detail, and the inside references were welcomed. I can give this one a solid 7s out of 10s. Had they been more accurate with the monster representation and plot, I could see this possibly even being an 8s. This is an above-average action horror sci-fi flick with a little cheese on top that I can definitely recommend watching when you have some free time. Check it out when you have a chance, especially if you're a fan of Doom, Carl Urban, and or The Rock. The Pids and I want to thank you all once again for tuning into Vidiot Entertainment Studios for this episode of Vidiot Movie Reviews. If you enjoyed our video, please be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share to show your support. And don't forget to also check us out and subscribe on Twitch, as well as follow us on Twitter. Until next time, I'm the Nerd Lust Daddy, as always reminding you to not be chit futters to each other. Body autonomy for all, reproductive rights for women, and peace, love, and happiness to all. Take us out, Piggles.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye for now.